3-day festival.
Hello, Macklem Cabby here. How are you doing? On Thursday the 21st of December, and it is 25 to 6. Late night shopping in Carlisle. So really busy. Yeah, I'm just commenting on one of the articles I was reading about kristjaan Speakman saying, you know, our model doesn't make Sunderland a selling club. Well, I mean, that is sort of out of our hands, because players just want to be aware. Their seasons are short. Their careers short. Being a footballer, we can only pay so much players' wages, right? And the big guns, they'll offer 10 times more, and they're not going to stay. It doesn't matter what they say. They're not going to stay for that. You know, you had like Sir Jordan Henderson, Jordan Pickford. They were probably on 70 grand a week at Sunderland at the time, probably being offered well into the hundreds of thousands for Liverpool maybe and Everton. They're not going to stay around for that. It's just not going to happen. So it's not the case that we're a selling club. It's more that the fact, like, we just simply cannot compete with wage demands for the big clubs, you know. And it's also, let's face it, they've got no chance of winning at the minute any major trophies after with Sunderland, like Champions League or FA Cup or League Cup or not. Like, yeah, they've won they've won the Papa John's and all that, and they won the promotion, that trophy, but the big trophies, you know what I'm on about. So a lot of the players have to think about their own future and say, like, you know, the years are going on by, yeah, and I'm getting clubs knocking on the door. Like, you know, Jack Clark and stuff. If we just stay where we are in the Championship, and the Premier League clubs will sniff, he'll be away. And the only way that'll stop is one day if Sunderland can compete with the top 4, top 5. So, and we can match the players' wages as well. And I know it's wrong, and that sounds sad and this and that and the other, but like the likes of Newcastle, they can just throw as much money as they want, presumably, especially on players' wages or like that. You know, like a Manchester City will come up to say, like a Jack Clark, and say, oh, how about signing for us for 400 grand a week, 500 grand a week? And Sunderland will say, oh, we'll match that. How about 600 grand a week? I'll say, but we can't do that. It's an impossibility. And even if we get into the Premier League, you're still going to struggle, because we're still a million miles away from the big hitters that can wave the notes at the players, stopping the clubs from progressing further forward. So like I say, it's not that we're a selling club, it's just us and lots of other clubs are in the same boat. And that's why when you look at the Premier League, you've got that whirlpool, that rotation of the same clubs getting relegated, coming back up, getting relegated, coming back up. You get the same clubs that in our lifetime we'll probably never see get relegated, like the Man City, the Man United, the Chelsea, the Arsenal, the Liverpool, the Spurs, and so on. And teams like your Brentford and your Bournemouth and stuff, though, even though they've been in the Premier League a long time, they will eventually get their comeuppance, because they won't be able to keep up with the big guns, the big wages, when their players are wanting away to a chance of silverware. Because let's face it, the big trophies are only ever going to get won by the likes of your Liverpools, your Chelseas, your Arsenal, your Man United, the Man Cities, and you possibly your Spurs, even though they've not won for years. And they want to jump ship to go to them big clubs, because it's just too much one-way traffic for success. And that's that with every league. You see the same teams just about in the Champions League, don't you? So, like I say, it's not that we're a selling club, Mr. Speakman. It's not to do with that at all. It's just the way things are at the moment, and it is really difficult for Sunderland and lots of other teams to progress or go any further. And it's been like that for years with Sunderland. it's a mixture of like, we're not selling them, it's like also the player wants to get away. You know, occasionally you get like little gems, like your Kevin Phillips, they're the one-offs. And, you know, Ross Stewart's, which he's nowhere near a Kevin Phillips mine, but occasionally, you know, you buy a player that's, you know, paying for much, turns out to be a proper gem. Unfortunately, Stewart was injured. He wanted away. So there's a long way to go before you can say Sunderland are not going to be a selling club, because it's out of your hands. Because it's not just that the players want to get away. It's not because they hate Sunderland, it's not because blah blah blah, it's because of the fact they've got a short career, and if they have a chance of maybe some major silverware or really improving their own CV, it's not going to happen with Sunderland. They're away, and it's a tricky one. So we are a long way off punching with the big guns. It's when it'll happen, I do not know, but I do know that if we don't get promoted this season, I do think Jack Clark will be away, especially if he starts banging the goals in for Sunderland and he becomes a right, even though he's a quality player now, you know, he will be away. And same with Joe Bellingham, if he starts smacking them in for fun, he'll be away. Dan Neil, we can sing as much as we want, he's one of our own, but if he starts becoming a massive success in the Championship and banging them in for fun, he'll be away. Not because we're a selling club, because the player just simply cannot resist the temptation to better his career of earning thousands and thousands more wage packet, but also the chance to perhaps get a Champions League trophy, FA Cup, Premier League trophy, League Cup. And there's something that is out of our hands. So until that day comes where we can punch with the big boys, it'll always be like that. You know, it's been like, Sunderland's been like that as, I mean, I'm 49 and I've supported them in the early 80s. I know there weren't as much money involved back then, but we've always been the same. Sunderland have always been that sort of too good for the Championship, not quite good enough for the Premier League. We've always been like that. The Dennis Smith era, when we got promoted, we came straight back down. When Peter Reid was here, yes, we had a good 7-year spell, but we came back down. And it's like, we can't seem to hold our own in the Premier League for years and years and years. And let's say the rest of our life, because we just can't compete. And unfortunately, unless we get owners that are just going to swim in money, like say what Newcastle's just doing, then it's always going to be the case. So it doesn't matter which owners takes over Sunderland, if they're not going to like chuck money left, right and centre and have trillions and trillions and trillions, and that's not an object, that's not a problem, then we will continually be offloading players or players wanting away. And that's just the way it is. We, like I said, Dan Neil, we just know that they're only here temporary if they become an absolute star. And the only way to fix it is punch your weight with the big guns. So that's what I'm thinking anyway. I'm just about to do my pick up now. So Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.